share our final days in the Med with a couple of fantastic days sailing west towards Gibraltar. Along the way we find that whales love midnight oil and dolphins love techno. However, before we make a west run, we stop by Cartagena and find an enclave of fun-loving English liveaboards.
There's been absolutely no wind, but at least once we went past Cabo Palo, which is halfway between Tranquilo and Cartagena, this amazing rugged coastline.
In fact, this rugged coastline is the one thing that's got Phil up off the sofa, still suffering a bit from food poisoning.
Almost there. Scratch.
This is something we've been hanging out for, a bit more adult company, and we've really enjoyed a few hours here at Cartagena. There's a big English-speaking liveaboard community, and every Sunday they have a barbie here. So we arrived a little bit late after the barbie, but we've partaken in some beverages and enjoyed the banter.
On like a monthly subscription, we paid 50 times it's brewery. You can have that.
No idea. The barrel runs out.
Yes, I am. Gordon Ramsay, you just beat it. Yeah, I know. But how are you gonna?
This morning we were off to the Roman Forum and the Roman Amphitheatre, and you'd never know from this facade, this modern facade, that it's all through here, and behind another street is where the amphitheatre is. There's a little picture that shows you that. This town goes way back, so the Carthaginians founded it in 227 BC. If you were like me wondering who they are, they were, as Phil put it, the rivals to Rome. So they came from Northern Africa, Tunisia, Libya, that sort of area. And then Rome defeated Carthage and Spain became part of the Roman Empire.
Of course, most of you will know Carthage as Hannibal, who was the great Carthaginian general who took elephants all the way from Africa across Spain, through across the Alps and into northern Italy. So that's the most famous Carthaginian.
The idea of people going into space and living in space, that's a new concept. The latest one.
They must have drank though. Everyone's looking at the stars.
Yeah, well they're talking about building spaceships that take people.
Yeah, it must have not.
So not surprisingly, this theatre was built between 2 and 5 BC under the reign of Augustus. Augustus, when he took power, you'll recall, back in Albania, he talked about how him and his general Agrippa defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and that allowed him to become the emperor of Rome. Following that, he instigated a whole building works across the whole empire to rejuvenate the empire. And this theatre is one of those buildings that he instigated in Carthage, or in Cartagena in Spain.
Aiden's really enjoying being here because we're here with the girls, Isla and Molly, and their folks, Mel and Al. So it's nice to have some company. You're in your element. Yeah. Louder!
You are the slowest sloth and the unslippery sloth of the world.
Brilliant! Louder!
You are the slowest sloth of the world and the unslippery sloth of the world.
Louder! Alright folks, you've got the same shirt. What's it all about?
Sail.
That's what life's about.
Certainly is. Yeah. Tattooed it on my chest. This is
Yeah, the same.
So Brian in the middle's heading across in January, across the Caribbean. And Selwyn and Steve and Brian are doing it the year after.
Ian.
or 8 to 20
I
years.
said Brian, Ian.
Yeah,
We've got a bit more of the med to see yet, so we're a year or two after. But yeah.
Nice.
It is our plan. Once your hand is all there.
Cool. Lovely to meet you.
We'll see you in about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, have a good trip.
Safe trip.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, Adrian. See you soon.
Just press it on Clara to show search rescue.
Okay. Search rescue.
Search rescue.
You may have been thinking that it was tug, but it's not.
We heard a couple of pan-pans as we were coming into Cartagena a few days ago, and we could track the search and rescue boat on the AIS. Something that Aiden loves doing is to check out what all the boats are on AIS. So this one is search and rescue. You can see on the side it says Salvamento Maritimo. So saving lives at sea, basically.
But wait. But it says that it was doing exercises.
Oh, and a pan-pan, if you're wondering, is one level down from a Mayday. So it's something like a boat that that has lost its engine, which is one that we heard a couple of days ago, or some other fairly major issue, but not as serious as a Mayday, which is, you know, lives are at imminent risk. So that's what pan-pan is. How's it going, Phil?
Beautiful. One problem, no wind. You almost put the hammock out.
Almost.
Even the spinnaker won't help in this.
Yeah.
It's ready.
I'm so glad we spent a few days in Cartagena. It was a complete surprise. We've enjoyed having some adult company, lots of English speakers there. I love trying out my different languages, but yeah, it's nothing quite the same as just having a conversation easily with others. So yeah, that was just great. And Aiden had an absolute ball with all the kids there. And as an added bonus, it's a nice town. So it's a lovely setting in these hills. Not so nice being right next to a smelly working port, but that's, you know, like a tiny part of the overall amazing experience that we've had. So a huge thumbs up to Cartagena. We got to know Chris and Alyssa a bit better. They came on board last night. We had a great barbie together. And we've enjoyed getting to know Al and Mel and their 2 girls as well as the other kids like Ian, the liveaboard families that are here too. So yeah, I think it's got something for everyone if you're sailing in this area.
Yeah, no wind didn't last long.
It's good, isn't it? What you got there?
Can I have a bite?
Papa croissant or papa pain au chocolat. Yeah.
Yay.
First you got to finish breakfast.
This is more like it. The wind picked up within a mile or 2 off Cartagena. Got both sails up and should be like this for pretty much the 2 days to Gibraltar. The forecast is in a couple of days when we arrive that it's a little bit lighter, but yeah, around 10, 12, 15 knots, which is just perfect. And we should be on this port tack pretty much the whole way.
Yeah, no, we're pretty stable here. So
Bare feet.
we're just about to finish our meal for video, so we're not too far behind. And then we're like, now we look like we're going to clear the point okay, so I'm not sure if you're off course.
Okay, I was just making sure you haven't decided to go to Morocco. Over.
Well, I was threatening to this morning. Where are they? Where are they? Whoa!
Hello, baby.
Where, baby?
Or is it just a little one? These ones in the med.
Look, over there, there was one that jumped.
Well spotted, Aiden. Wow, there we go. I hope you could see a little bit of that on camera. We just had a pod of dolphins going by. And in other news, the wind has dropped a little, so we're going to bring out the spinnaker and try and pick up our speed a bit. It's moments like this that I'm really, truly happy. Very happy, very fortunate. We have a home, it's obviously Tranquilo. We've just shared some good food, early dinner, and we're in the middle of the deep blue sea with our big orange spinnaker. So it doesn't get much better than this.
Well, it's been a fantastic day sailing. It's been like wind, but the spinnaker has been phenomenal in just getting us some speed. The sun's about to set, so for the night we're going to fill the spinnaker in. Being short-handed, we just don't really want to have any incidents with if the wind picks up or the wind shifts. The folks are on bare feet. Chris and Elisa left about 2 hours ahead of us from Cartagena. They're now just right off our port side, about 2 nautical miles off. Hard to see them, but yeah, they're there.
That green speck over there is our mate's bare feet.
Yeah.
So we've been tracking along beside them for the last kind of hour, which is actually really nice to have a buddy out there. Good morning. That was a quite uneventful night, which is how I like them when Phil and I are sailing single-handed. Our mate's bare feet are quite a way behind. They're a bit smaller, 12 metres instead of 14, so you'd expect that. And we're just cruising along. Aiden's at the helm. Phil is having a well-deserved snooze. Bless you. We've got some decent swell running behind us, so we are surfing.
And we're hand steering because the autopilot's not necessarily coping with it.
We almost did a Chinese jibe. If it wasn't for the preventer, we would have done it. Just because it overdid it on the wave and brought us around through the wind. Anyway, it's all fine. We brought the main back in, set it all down, and then brought it back out again.
Okay. I've never heard that term Chinese jibe, but anyway, accidental jibe, almost. They're little ones. They've gone to the other side, I think. Noses like balloons.
They have bubbles. They're making bubbles. They're
Hello, buddies.
Bubbles.
They breathe just like us.
Yeah, but they're making bubbles under the water.
They're elusive, aren't they? There's some out there. All the different types of
There's one.
Oh. You know dolphins are whales?
Well, can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there.
Whoa.
Hello.
The music works. The music works.
I like the music.
Whoa.
Oh, how cool is that?
Whoa. Bubbles, bubbles. Bubbles, bubbles,
Bunch of them. There's like 4 of them.
Bubbles.
Right here, Phil.
Yeah.
Come to the back.
Bubbles, bubbles. There, Mum. Look.
That?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's just...
Yeah. Whoa. Cool.
There's
2.
another one. There's 2.
Yeah, there's 2.
Oh my goodness, look, there's in there too.
Wow.
We're approaching night 2, but before we bring in the spinnaker, we're just having a little play around, just something we've been meaning to do for quite a while. So it's pretty light wind, about 7.1, and ideally we're slightly off course. The wind is directly behind when we are on course, but we've just played with how far downwind we can take our asymmetric spinnaker, and we've settled on 160 wind angle. So 20 off the straight behind 180. And the other thing is we've got the watt and C in, so charging the batteries, so things are pretty good. And I was just saying to Phil, I just love the spinnaker, the fact that it's such a light, fine fabric up there can pull along 12 tons of boat. It just tickles my brain every time. Time to furl her in.
Sorry?
Time to furl her in.
Time to fill her in, the sun's about to set. Aiden, can you tighten up the halyard just a bit with the winch handle?
Sunset and moonrise.
Well, that was another challenging but great day of sailing. The waves were very rough earlier on with the wind against tide, and the wind did die down in the end, but can't be said that we didn't make the most of it, both with the stand configuration and then putting up the spinnaker. And the more we use the spinnaker, the more we are learning about its limitations. So, as everyone says, you never stop learning when you're sailing, be it if you're 5, 18 or 85. With the full moon, it's almost like the moon is giving us one final hurrah for our last day of full sailing in what is essentially the Med, because after this it's the Strait of Gibraltar and the Atlantic.
Well, here we are again. This is my 3 to 5 a.m. shift, the second shift for tonight, the graveyard shift. And it's actually a really busy piece of sea out here. It doesn't show in real life, looks a bit like this, but there's a lot of tankers and cargo ships out here. Most of them are underway, and there's a few that are just sitting there. They're listed as not under command or awaiting orders. So the main job for me is basically just to go around the tankers. There's no wind, it's 4.5 knots off the back, so it's motoring and playing dodge the tankers. So here's what it looks like on the chart plotter. You can see Tranquilo in the middle there, and then a whole line of tankers just not under command. And I'm glad to say the fog has lifted and we can see the moon again. What you doing, Aiden?
That connects to the motor, the engine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm warming up.
It blows hot air.
The sea temp is 19.
I know.
We haven't had that since,
Croatia.
yeah, early Croatia.
Good morning and welcome to my 7:30 shift, just taken over from Phil. And when I came upstairs, freezing and thick fog everywhere, something that we haven't had before. I'm glad to say a few minutes later the fog has lifted and now we can see the moon. It's going to set soon. Pretty special.
Well, we're 6 nautical miles off Gibraltar. I've just come back up after my last sleep for the night, and I'm really happy to see that the fog has finally lifted. So, happy to say I can put away the foghorn that I had brought out just in case. So yes, Gibraltar is a famous spot for fog, just like the North Sea is. See, what happens is that the warm moist air coming off the warm Mediterranean Sea hits the cold waters of the Atlantic, and so condensation forms and you get fog here quite often.
Just then I saw Africa, or Cuta in Africa. It's over there, because it's a mountain. Yeah.
Europe. Africa.
Yeah. Look at that.
So there it is finally, the Pillar of Hercules.
Help us inspire others to live their dreams. Please support us on Patreon.